Hola a todos, yo soy Mike, bienvenidos a la guía definitiva para aprender lo que necesitas saber acerca del verbo haber. Hi everybody, this is Mike. Welcome to the ultimate guide. All you need to know about the verb haber in Spanish. Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about the verb haber, which is to have. Remember that the verb to have in English is one word that can be used in different ways. I can say, let's say, I have a car to express possession. I can say, I have to go to the doctor to when I want to convey the obligation of something. And I also can say, I have gone to the doctor, if it's a present perfect tense or perfect tenses. In Spanish, we use the verb to have can be translated in two ways, tener and haber. We have another video in which I explain all you need to know about the verb to have translated as tener. Please take a look at that video. And in this video, we're going to understand and learn and study all we need to know about the verb to have when we translate that as haber for the perfect tenses. I mean, when the verb is followed by another verb in the past participle form. Because there are other ways to use the verb haber, and we are going to see that and learn that in this video. So get ready for this ultimate guide to understand the verb haber en español. Okay, so haber is the Spanish verb to have. That's already said. And to have is mostly an irregular verb. So we use haber followed by a verb in the past participle tense to form perfect tenses. Sentences like I have gone, yo he ido, you will have worked, habrás trabajado, he had walked, él había caminado, we would have talked, nosotros habríamos hablado, having said that, habiendo dicho eso. Haber in Spanish can be used in two more ways. We can express there is a cat on the roof. Hay un gato en el techo. This is what we call in Spanish el verbo impersonal haber. Pretty much something like the impersonal verb haber, right? Hay un gato en el techo. There is. The form there is, there are, is in Spanish also translated as hay, a form of haber. This is going to be subject for another video. And also to express obligation or duties. Hay que trabajar más. We or you have to work more. If I say we have to work more, like, I think we have to work more. In Spanish, we say hay que trabajar más. We can say in Spanish, hay que trabajar más. We can say nosotros tenemos que trabajar más, but also we can say hay que trabajar más. And that's also if I'm telling you, you have to work more. In Spanish, we can say hay que trabajar más. So, having said that, let's go with all of the conjugations for the verb haber. And remember, this is basically for perfect tenses, meaning yo he jugado, present perfect, tú has salido, present perfect, usted ha comido, things like that, followed always by a verb in the participle past tense. So, if in English is I have, the indicative present is yo he. Tú has, singular and formal clause. Usted ha, singular, formal. Ustedes han, for the plural. Vosotros habéis, in Spain. Él ha, he has. Ella ha, she has. Ha, it has. Remember, in Spanish, we don't have a pronoun for it. Well, basically, we never use a pronoun for it. Nosotros hemos, we have. Ellos han, they have, if it's male. Ellas han, they have, if it's female. These are the conjugations, and remember, this is always followed by a verb in the past participle form. Yo he caminado, I have walked. Él ha salido. He has gone, he has left. Ha llovido. It has rained. Okay? So let's move to the indicative future. Yo habré. I will have. Yo habré. Tú habrás. You will have. Singular and formal close relationships. Tú habrás. Y usted habrá. You will have. Singular formal. Ustedes habrán. You will have plural. Vosotros habréis. If in Spain. Él habrá. He will have. Ella habrá. She will have. Habrá. It will have. Nosotros habremos. We will have. Ellos habrán. Male. They will have. Ellas habrán. Female. They will have. And remember, this is always followed by a verb in the past participle form. Yo habré comido. I will have eaten. Él habrá caminado. He will have walked. Okay? Now let's move to this form, the prior preterite. And this is for actions passed before another past action. In Spanish, we use that. It's not so common, but we use it. So I can say, yo hube salido. I had left. Yo hube. Tú hubiste. Singular and formal close for you. Usted hubo. Singular formal for you. Ustedes hubieron. You had. Plural. Vosotros hubisteis. You had Spain. One thing here. Hubieron. It's valid only for this form. We cannot use hubieron for, remember, earlier in this video, we talked about there is, there are, as haber. There was in Spanish, there were, we could think there were, we could translate that as hubieron, but for that in Spanish, the real word is hubo. But anyways, that's going to be subject for another video. In the meantime, él hubo, he had, ella hubo, she had, hubo, it had, nosotros hubimos, we had, ellos hubieron, they had male, ellas hubieron, they had female. Remember, this is always followed by a verb in the past participle form. Yo hube entendido, I had understood. But also, this same had, remember, this is most used, more common, more used in Spanish. Yo había. I had, yo había salido. I had, yo había salido de la casa. I have left the house. Tú habías, you had, informal close, singular. Usted había, singular formal. Ustedes habían, plural. Vosotros habíais, Spain. Él había, he had. Ella había, she had. Había, it had. Nosotros habíamos, we had. Ellos habían, they had male. Ellas habían, they had female. And remember, always followed by a verb in the past participle form. Yo había leído. I had read. Ellos habían nadado. They had swum. Okay. Going to with the future. This is a very awkward form. It is correct, but it's awkward, and instead of that, we use the simple future. Okay? But nonetheless, we're going to understand, which is basically the conjugation of haber is basically in the infinitive form. Just ask to have, infinitive form haber, and it won't change. The thing that changes is the going to form. Yo voy a ver, tú vas a ver, usted va a ver, and so on. And as you can see, these forms, as I explained to you before, both in English and Spanish are awkward. Are correct, but are awkward. They sound unnatural. Sound kind of weird, right? If I say in Spanish, yo voy a haber salido mañana, it sounds weird. We better say yo habré salido mañana. Same thing in English. I'm going to have left tomorrow. I will have left tomorrow. It's better say it. So I'm going to just skip this one. Having said that, and understanding that the conjugation for haber, basically it's not a conjugation because the verb is in its infinitive form. Haber, to have. Okay, so let's skip this. The going to in the past form, it is used and it's natural in Spanish. We say yo iba a haber sabido, ¿quién iba a haber sabido? That form is a valid form. And same thing, the conjugation goes on the was going, were going part. To have is the same. So the conjugation for haber, there's no conjugation, it's in its infinitive form. Yo iba a haber, I was going to have. Tú ibas a haber, singular and formal clause. Usted iba a haber, singular formal. Ustedes iban a haber, plural. Vosotros ibais a haber, Spain. Él iba a haber, he was going to have. Ella iba a haber, she was going to have. Iba a haber, it was going to have. Nosotros íbamos a haber, we were going to have. Ellos iban a haber, they were going to have, male. Ellas iban a haber, they were going to have, female. Remember, all of these exercises, all of these examples, all of these structures must be followed by a verb in the participle past tense. Past participle tense. Perfect tenses over perfect tenses are incorrect. Okay, so I cannot use a perfect tense over a perfect tense. Habido is used in Spanish, but when we take haber as there has been, meaning there is, there are, the perfect tense for there is, there are can be translated as habido. There has been a rainstorm. Ha habido una tormenta. There has been a rainstorm. Ha habido. It is translated there has been, the form there has been, ha habido. Ha habido. Okay? Again, this is subject for another video. Just a heads up. The continuous forms. This is very interesting because in Spanish, the continuous forms for haber in the perfect tenses are called compound gerunds in Spanish. Gerundios compuestos. That's the name in Spanish. But in English, this form is known as perfect participle phrases. A perfect participle phrase refers to an action that occurred before the action in the main clause. There are two clauses. It identifies the subject of the main clause and acts as the reason why the main clause took place. It expresses clear prior actions. Okay? Examples of this are, habiendo oído las noticias acerca de la nevada, you see how come haber is in the form ando, endo, having, ando, endo, habiendo oído las noticias acerca de la nevada, decidimos quedarnos en casa. Having heard the news of the blizzard, we decided to stay home. Habiendo pagado la multa, having paid the fine, me dejaron salir, I was released. And there's just one conjugation, which is having, of course, because it's a continuous form, gerund, ando, endo, ing. Interesting, isn't it? And let's go near to the end of this video with the present subjunctive. Remember that not necessarily something that it's subjunctive mood in Spanish, it is in English. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. For instance, here for the verb haber in the present subjunctive in Spanish is yo haya, I have. Tú hayas, you have, singular informal clause. Usted haya, you have, singular formal. Ustedes hayan, plural. Vosotros hayáis, Spain. Él haya, he have. Ella haya, remember this is mostly taken as subjunctive. Haya, let's move this a little bit here. Nosotros hayamos, ellos hayan male, ellas hayan female. Let's check this example here. It is important that he have studied for the test. It is a correct sentence in English. It may sound a little weird. We may use, instead of that, we may say, it is important that he has studied for the test. But nonetheless, in Spanish, that form would be a subjunctive, a present subjunctive mood. Meaning, es importante que él haya estudiado para el examen. Que él haya, you see? Es importante que yo haya estudiado para el examen. That I have. Es importante que tú hayas. That you have. You see? And we move to, I think this is the last one. Oh no, we have the last one is the conditional. We move to the past subjunctive, which is basically third conditional. If I had won the lottery, I would have bought a big house. The first part. Yo hubiera, I had. Yo hubiera. Tú hubieras. You had singular informal clause. Tú hubieras. Usted hubiera, singular formal. Ustedes hubieran, plural. Vosotros hubierais, Spain. Él hubiera, he had. Ella hubiera, she had. Hubiera, it had. Nosotros hubiéramos, we had. Ellos hubieran, they had male. Ellas hubieran, they had female. And remember, this is always followed by, though all of these examples and conjugations are always followed by a verb in the past participle tense. As in this example, for of course a clear third conditional, if I had won the lottery, si yo hubiera ganado, si yo hubiera ganado, si tú hubieras sabido, if you had known, si él hubiera venido, if he had come, okay? And last but not least, the conditional mode, which would be this one, right? In the third conditional, the clause, I would have, right? So, yo habría, I would have. Yo habría. Tú habrías, you would have singular and formal clause. Usted habría, you would have singular formal. Ustedes habrían, plural. Vosotros habríais, Spain. Él habría, he would have. Ella habría, she would have. Habría, it would have. Nosotros habríamos, we would have. Ellos habrían, they would have, male. Ellas habrían, they would have, female. And those are pretty much all of the conjugations for the verb to have, understood as haber. We need to keep in mind this thing about the going to, the future, which is awkward. Also, the fact that perfect tenses over perfect tenses are incorrect. Also, the fact that what we called compound gerund in Spanish, it's called perfect participle phrases in English. And also that not necessarily, and we have talked about this before, not necessarily a subjunctive mood in Spanish will be a subjunctive mood in English. So remember, all of these sentences are supposed to be followed by a verb in the past participle form, because this is haber in Spanish can be used for perfect tenses, and that's the way we are studying that verb and its conjugations, all of its conjugations in this video. So what's your mission? Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to check all this information all over again until you get a full grasp of it, a full understanding of it, and start practicing all of the conjugations and start building sentences. This is the theory, and we will have further classes, live classes, I hope, in which we're going to do that, exercises, building sentences. But remember, these are basically irregular verbs, and we need to learn that by heart. So I hope this is going to be useful in your learning process. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. Remember, this is a matter of practicing, studying. You need to check all the conjugations, try and start making your own sentences, building your own sentences, just to get a full understanding of how to conjugate and how to use the verb to have understood as haber used in the perfect tenses. If you have doubts, check the video as many times as you need. And if you're still in doubt, leave a comment and I'll reply as soon as possible. So hopefully this is going to be helpful for you. I really enjoy this process. I really enjoy sharing this kind of contents with you. And okay, I hope this has been very helpful in your learning process. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, you know what to do. Please share with your friends, groups, and social media. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel for updates on the new videos that we're posting on a weekly basis. So keep on learning, keep on watching the videos, and see you on the next video. Bye bye.